Right, and he is just about done. There we go. There we go. All right, we're putting a greenhouse together this morning. It's a little bit heavy, so I want the girls to drag it over with the trailer. So this is how I fixed it up. We'll see how well it works. I didn't want the handle down here damaging the light, so I attached it to these two bars. Again, I don't know how it's going to work. It doesn't have any weight in it right now. And you do have to be a little bit more mindful of swinging and not running the trailer into things. So we'll see if Paige runs into anybody's car. I would probably use carabiners if I wanted a quick release, but since I'm just playing with it for now, I have my ground cloth down. Now our wind comes from the southwest. My greenhouses handle the wind, the tough greenhouse handles the wind. I don't know if the quick tent is going to handle the wind. It's definitely bigger than I thought it was going to be. The thing that I'm concerned about is that it has a raw edge that does not extend very far past the bottom of the zipper. Now, if you don't have an anchor point at the bottom, if everything isn't anchored at the bottom, what happens is the greenhouse turns into a parachute. I'll see if I can show it to you. You have to use lathe. Somebody told me I say that wrong. That's lathe. So this anchors the plastic to the greenhouse. See that piece of wood? That anchors it. We have enough wind that if you do not anchor every tiny edge of your plastic, it will turn your greenhouse into a parachute. The whole bottom line here is attached with wiggle wire. And I also have a piece of wood at the bottom next to the wiggle wire. On the big double cow panel greenhouse like this, what keeps it from blowing away is the pallets. The plastic is attached to pallets that have compost in them. All right, here's the instructions. They have 3 sets of instructions in the booklet. This is the biggest one. So this is ours. And this is what the diagram of the poles are going to look like. It looks like the difference is in the door. All these other frames are the same, but the door frame is parts A. So I'm separating all the B parts together and all the A parts together so I can get the door made. together the A loop. Now we connect the ribs, and then we put B loop together on top of those ribs. We keep babies in the greenhouse, and we're gonna let these guys out because it's gonna be too hot in there for them. They have food, they have water. Come on, guys. I brought you some helpers. I thought this would make your job easier. What do you think?
So much easier.
All right, so we have got to Velcro strap everything down. And the reason for that is because it's gonna, if it's not Velcroed down good enough, it's gonna whip. And it'll just whip the whole greenhouse apart. I'm not real sure how weather tight it is, because you can see this here, we've got a little bit of a gap. And so we're gonna have to do some thinking on that one, and maybe have the first things we put in here be cold season plants instead of things like tomatoes. But that's how these guys work. You just Velcro strap them. Okay guys, the greenhouse did not make it through its first mild windstorm. I don't know if you guys can see just how bad it is, but the metal itself broke. It wasn't the plastic that gave out, it was the metal. The instructions, the actual instructions on the greenhouse said that if there's any kind of wind, you have to leave the windows open and the doors open. You have to leave everything open if there's any kind of wind, which we did. We followed the instructions. We left everything open so that the wind could blow through the greenhouse. The problem with that method is that if you had any kind of plants in this greenhouse, they would now be destroyed. The plants themselves would be destroyed at this point.
The plastic did also rip it then.
So the Velcro was attached. We did attach all the Velcros, and there's stitching on it. So the Velcro let go on some parts of it. It held on some parts of it. The stitching itself has torn in some spots now. So you can see these cheap greenhouses, if the warning on the assembly instructions itself said, Leave everything open if you have any kind of wind. It also said to just take the plastic off altogether if you had a tornado. We're not having a tornado, we're just having some light wind. And so, do I recommend these greenhouses? No. My tough greenhouse is just fine. And the one that I built myself is just fine. This one is not just fine. My concern at this point is that the greenhouse itself is going to try and blow away to the point where it goes over the fence and lands on the rabbits. So Kai and I actually need to kind of demolish it a little bit so that it can't hurt the rabbits on the other side of the chain link. So you can see it broke there, and the Velcro actually got ripped off. Okay, so this is what's left. Most of the straps were already torn off. We're gonna save the plastic to use for, you know, something else. I don't like to throw plastic away. This is a quick tent, but I think it's pretty universal. They sell these from a lot of different places. So I'm not gonna blame Quick Tent itself that this didn't work. But yeah, what is a greenhouse for if not to protect plants from this kind of thing? I'll show you the difference. So I think, in other words, you get what you pay for. This greenhouse, I believe, was $3,000. The one that I built over there probably cost me $100, maybe $150 because I used reclaimed products. I do have the PDF for that greenhouse over there on my Etsy store. This one is just a commercial one that we really like that has stood up against amazing wind and snow. You do have to shovel this one where you don't have to shovel mine. Mine, the snow just slides off the side. Hi, Bruce. I hear you. Graham, you're scaring him. Out. As you can see, it's not a super duper windy day. Like, I would call it breezy, but not necessarily windy. I would bet, again, we're at 10 or 15 miles an hour. So for growing food, those cheapo Home Depot, Harbor Freight greenhouses are a super duper waste of money unless you live in the magical kingdom of it's never windy or even the slightest bit breezy. This greenhouse made it 1 week in Idaho, in southeast Idaho. So hopefully that was helpful, and we'll talk to you later. You don't think it'll make it easier?
So much less time. Babies! Hi, Betsy. Do not go for my leg or else. Baby!